Bullish Bitcoin blessings upon you all. I have made myself into the priest of the Bitcoin today because I lost a bet on Bitcoin, and it has most certainly broken the former all-time high, and so I am now a priest of the Church of Bitcoin. Many blessings upon Michael Saylor. Praise be upon his holy name. And yeah, so we're going to talk about that and talk about what that could mean. Because I know a lot of people are asking a lot of questions. Like, what the only question asked now is how much higher is it going to go? I've got no bearish reservations anymore. I mean, once it breaks that all-time high, I know enough to know not to go against it. And so now I get to talk about that, along with other things, because the rest of the market's sort of doing a little bit of a little calm down from last week's yeet of all things. But I'm gonna look at a couple of different theories on that, going all the way down from the gazillion predictions down to things that we can look at based on statistics and other technical analysis. But we'll get into that. So if you're catching this a little bit later, just hang out. Fast forward through the music or hang out until we get started. See you guys in just a minute. All right. So, hope everybody's having a good Friday. Excuse me. I am still under the effect of a cold that actually started last Friday that has been persisting. But fortunately, I have some friends that have also had something going around, and they are not dead. So I'm optimistic that I will be on this mortal coil for a long time to see what ends up happening with Bitcoin. Now, if in case you're wondering why I am now the priest of Bitcoin, it is because I made a bet, not only financially but also ego-wise, that Bitcoin would not break the all-time high. And damn it, you know how whatever, I was wrong. You know what? And that's okay. One thing I like to live by is this kept me good and safe in this whole trading and investing journey for many, many years, is an adage. And I want you all to remember this. When you're wrong, the first thing you want to do is stop being wrong. And so I closed all of my Bitcoin shorts. I'm not short Bitcoin, but my vehicle for that was BITI, which, I went ahead and took it off my list right here because who cares? But yeah, the question now is going to be, how high can it go? Now, everyone's got their own opinions about that. I think that some people think that it's going to go to a bajillion. Oh, excuse me. First of all, we'll start from the top down, okay? And I'll try to address the validity of some of these arguments. So, number one is the highest would be, of course, infinity, and of course, this is a number that is what many that are bullish would say is the most logical, because it has a limited supply. And people will be forced to buy it because there will be no other financial asset of any value. And so that could be true. That could be very true. We could all just, own nothing but Bitcoin, live out under the sky and not own houses, and just be sheltered by magic internet money. That could happen. The other one is, I think, something made about 16 million by Michael Saylor, blessed be his name. That's what I think he set as a 16 million as a long-term target there, and a million. And then we start getting down into the nice round numbers. Okay, and I'm being entirely serious about this. A lot of people, they have in their heads a million. Then you come down to the 250K. And by the way, I'm going to get into what I actually think, no joke, what I will be looking for as far as top outs for this cycle, because if you've been following Bitcoin long enough, or you do a little bit of research, you know that it goes in halvening cycles, and that's where the price tends to fit in. Everyone likes to take these charts of the last three and kind of cram it in, and then kind of like, oh, look, this looks like that. Well, we'll look at those things. And then as we get kind of into the more near term, everybody's, of course, looking at 100K. And that's a nice little round number. But let me give a little bit of caution to people about these kind of numbers, okay? So I haven't even looked at Dogecoin, and I know I'm committing heresy by even mentioning any other currency, any other cryptocurrency, because there is no other cryptocurrency other than Bitcoin, blessed be its name. But we need to look at some of these to understand people's psychology. And the psychology is basically what you see in the chart. I truly believe that this is wisdom that everyone should just take into their hearts. Because what we're seeing when we look at a price chart is people's sentiment of the future. It's the current price for which you can buy or sell, Bitcoin or whatever asset you're looking at. But this is a reflection of people's sentiment going in. And so if we go back and we do a little bit of history here, the last run that really kind of started this was, of course, the ETF run-up. Now, the ETF was announced sometime in October of last year, a little over a year ago, and that led up to this. And then you had a little minor, which I thought was going to be more major, buy the rumor, sell the news piece of it. And it did happen, but that ended up being a nice pullback to buy in hindsight. And then it kind of came up to the all-time high that we got into in March. Now, here's where I began to get bearish, and here's why. The reason is very simple, and it goes back to the all-time high price action of 2021. This was in April of 2021. And then what you had in the weeks of October 2021 and then following that November 2021 is failures to break above that high. To get something to go, to get something to yeet, to get something to be up double-digit percents in a day, you need a big, solid breakout, which we have most certainly here. This is a breakout. This is when something goes. Okay? Very, very simple. Nice, solid, weekly close. Can't deny it. No need to. No need to bet against it. It is just going to go because everyone's jumping in. But when you have something like this happen, and then we had this price action in March of this year after the ETF was launched, this is where it made a lot of sense if you're a trader, one of those evil traders, those sinners that should repent of ever trying to time the market. That is not what you want to see if you want the price to go up. And so there were a lot of good trading opportunities if you wanted to be a sinner, a dirty, dirty sinner, inside of this price action that went on for, basically most of 2024 from April until then. And so a new all-time high being established at around 73,757, that became the new defining point. And as it tried and failed several times over the course of these weeks and months, things started happening out in the world of politics. And I don't go into politics because normally politics don't influence things very much, or at least of all the things like the stock market and Bitcoin, where the number just goes up consistently over time, you can bet that whoever wins is going to make the price of it go up. 1 second. Sick, as you remember. Thank you. And so, there's this guy that was running for president. Actually, there were two. There was this guy named Trump and RFK, and they were very, very bullish on Bitcoin, talking about a Bitcoin strategic reserve and in general just being a little more friendly to the climate of Bitcoin than the other team was. And so what you had on election night was the actual break of that all-time high. There's that Wednesday, which happened in the AM hours of last week, Wednesday, November 6th. And so the effect of Trump winning is why it's up. Now, look, I know that some people that may not like some of the other policies of Trump may take issue with that. They may, be on that river over in Egypt. They may need a paddle to get over the Nile. But that's what people are looking at now. People are expecting a favorable regulatory environment, and that is enough to get people to throw caution to the wind and pump this thing up. And what's interesting is this big pump right here happened. And a lot of people talk about manipulation, but they only think about it in the negative sense. The move already happened. It was already clear that bullish was the correct side. But this right here that really kind of pushed it up happened on Saturday night, Sunday morning of this last weekend in the lowest volume possible. Someone or some group of people decided, yeah, let's do this. And that's where we are today. And so if you're a Bitcoin holder, you got the benefit of the positive manipulation because it's a double-edged sword. And that's where we are. I'm not saying that manipulation. I do not put sinning or anything on manipulation. It is just the way the market works. When you have a very thin order book, you can make it go at either direction. And the sentiment was such that nobody's going to sell it at this point. And there we come to now. And by the way, if you have any questions or comments or symbols to look at, make sure you put them in the chat. I like talking to you guys, and I get some good ideas from you guys too when I do. And so, yeah. See, what's up, Mutant Matt? Forgive you. I forgive you, Hex, for purchasing Doge on the most recent. Oh, did it dip? We'll look at it in just a second. We will look upon the pagan currencies and see, because I did have a point to make about price action that comes from Doge and the history of that pagan religion. Um, it's so hard to stay disciplined, Mutant Matt. There's nothing to stay disciplined. It's just you. If you're long, you do nothing. If you feel like you are too late, you probably are, and you do need to actually kind of wait. But people will differ on that. I'm not going to sit here and preach that everyone should just jump in because now I have to make some good decisions, and it's not going to be jumping in. So, and then yes, exercise thy worthy options. Indeed, I would like Ethereum to come down a little more. You had a few NFTs and you wanted to arbitrage during the crypto winter. That's sinning. That is sinning. Haha, what's up? Yes, I got the row for you, man. I did actually, and I promise you, like, if you can't tell, like, I can't. I can. I've had a very hard time with this. I got it from the watch party, I think, on Tuesday night. This congestion, and unfortunately, I'm not coughing right now because I downed about a half a thing of Robitussin, and so yeah. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about the fib extensions and stuff like that. I don't use fib extensions. I don't, but we're gonna look at it anyway, just because some people do. And I actually let me tell you something. I'm not actually going to be looking for like a particular top. I mean, I'm going to have these numbers in mind, okay, because they're going to be helpful to kind of look at, maybe set alerts for. But really, you have to wait until it begins to show signs of a top. And in other words, what I just talked about earlier about when you get up to an all-time high, you're going to hit it, and then you're going to have a little bit of a fall-off period, and then you need to look and see, okay, ask the question, are people going to continue this with the same enthusiasm as they did? Don't read what people are saying on Twitter because everyone that's still holding is going to be saying, oh, it's fine, blah, 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 blah. When you see price action make a high, fall off a little bit as it will, come back to retest it, but not be able to break it on the first or second or multiple passes, then we start to talk about, okay, maybe this is the top. And that's really what I'm going to be looking for. I'm going to let price tell me based on that. But we're going to talk about the potential levels. All right, so the first level to talk about, well, let's talk about what everyone thinks first. First of all, everyone wants 100K because it's a nice round number that is everyone's looking at it, okay? And I'm going to tell you why that is not the number you want to look for. There we go. Okay. Coordinates 100. Okay. So the reason you don't want to look at 100K, in fact, you just need to just assume that that's not even a real number. It's an imaginary number in terms of price action, is because of what happened in Doge a few years ago. These pagans that had put their money into Dogecoin back in the year of 2021, the year of our Bitcoin, which would be, I believe, in the year of Bitcoin, 2021 would be year 22, excuse me, 12. Year 12 of our Lord Bitcoin, March and May, March through May, there was this event that everyone was looking forward to, which was Elon, who is another saint of our order for sure, because he's done a lot for the bullish blessings of Bitcoin. That he was going to be on this Saturday Night Live, and he was going to say Doge, and that was going to be the thing that would push Doge up to $1. Okay, $1 being a nice round number, a nice round psychological number, but instead it only came up to about 73, 74. Everyone I talked to was holding on to it for that $1, and they did not get it. This is why psychological numbers are not useless, but you shouldn't use them because everyone is looking for that. And what's going to happen in these cases of psychological numbers is one of three things are going to happen. One is going to fall short and leave people holding the bag. That happens a lot. Number two, it's just going to blow right past it. And number three, it will blow right past it. But then after everyone's kind of gotten like really thinking that it's going to close back inside of it. Okay, and then that could be a possible hold of it. But if you just set your target, or if you mentally set a target, like that's what I want, it's just not going to be very useful because everyone is. And it's one of those kind of self-fulfilling prophecies that doesn't actually self-fulfill. In fact, it does the opposite. And that's a little bit of wisdom from the pagan Dogecoin that we can look at. So 100K is not what I'm going to really look for. Now, I've had this chart that I drew months and months ago, even before basically I started looking at this probably as the discussions were going on about the halvening cycle, because believe it or not, I've actually been talking about the Bitcoin halvening cycles for quite a while. This is long in the before times. Let's see if I can even bring it up on my TradingView profile right here. It's going to take me a while to get all. Oh, 46, yeah. They don't even have my images anymore. Crap. So, oh, they do. So let's see, cycles. At least I talked about Bitcoin a lot back in the day, didn't I? I should have had this up for you guys. Yeah, I remember when people were talking about Bitcoin and Brexit a lot. Like Brexit was going to cause Bitcoin to go up. Old history. 205. Yeah, it needed to hold 205 back then, or else it was going to go down. Yeah. I'll find that. Anyway, I've been talking about these cycles for, back before we even have these last two cycles. So they do exist. But trying to fit, all the price in there, it kind of gets a little wonky. But here's the deal. And I know some people disagree with me, but it is the statistics that we have to go on. This is a logarithmic chart of Bitcoin. Now, I don't trade off logarithmic charts, but they're very useful tools for seeing price as it goes up over vast price ranges. And the thing that we can't deny, the thing that we can observe by just simple measurement, is that the price, the highs, the all-time highs, and the lowest lows are increasing inexorably upwards to infinity, but at a decreasing rate. Now, I know that a true believer will believe in the eternal blessings of the immaculate yeet that will launch into a meteoric rise, as was seen in the early days of our Bitcoin, the early years of our Bitcoin, the 1,000% gain cycles and things such as that, because reasons. But by looking at the trajectory as it is right now, we can kind of start to get an idea of what within this cycle may actually happen according to what has happened in the past. And this was kind of like a little hack I did using the angles going up. But to put it all into just a simple blurb, I would say as this continues on towards the end of the year and into the next one, if it follows the same sort of fractal trajectory that the highs do, then you're looking at a high of this cycle somewhere from 145K all the way up to maybe about 170K. Now, Wes, you may say, or Priest of Bitcoin, you may say, that is not like the return that I would desire, and it's still a very good return. It's still an excellent return. Not meme worthy by any means. No one's going to really post on X or Telegram and get many shares from that. But then also, if the trajectory kind of continues off of whatever will be the next high, we can then sort of chart it out into infinity. And I would say that around the end of the decade will be around the 300K mark. And of course, again, that's very super conservative. That's not really what anybody that is buying wants. But I think that's what the data actually tells us as it goes up. And of course, the lows will go up lower. And that bodes well for people that feel like they are missing out. Because if you would like to buy Bitcoin again at 92,000, then you should be able to somewhere around, let's say, 2035 at the next low. I don't think I have to really convince you that Bitcoin's volatility is one of its inherent characteristics, which yields the benefits it does. But the drawdowns of Bitcoin have always been anywhere from 70 to 90 And so if you are worried about it, fear not, for the blessed Bitcoin will come back for you. I know I may get some disagreement about that, but um, we're just going on what has been foretold in the history. So back to chat. MRV, what is the MVR Z-score indicator? If you can post me a link to that, maybe go on the Discord and share it, I might look at that, but I have never heard of that before. No, I am not going long MicroStrategy because now I was supposed to early this week give a bearish case for MicroStrategy, okay, and I'll just kind of give the cliff notes for it because I didn't actually make the presentation about it. But what you need to remember about MicroStrategy is that we can remember a lot about it because the chart of MicroStrategy actually goes all the way back to the dot-com boom. In fact, on a, they've had a split, but on a split adjusted basis, really, MicroStrategy is just now, this is a weekly chart, by the way. Look at that. They actually have broken their all-time high. MicroStrategy has actually broken its all-time high. So if you would have bought MicroStrategy at its worst point back in 2000, the year 2000, you would now have made money on MicroStrategy. Look at that. But that's a big sell-off right there. And actually, if we go back and we look at let's look at maybe the NASDAQ really quickly. Let me open up a new. See, make a copy. No. Let's see. Oh, let's do this. We look at the NASDAQ and we note that the fall off for MicroStrategy began in March of the year 2000. And let's look at the NASDAQ index at back around that time. This is the weekly of the NASDAQ. And so it also began around that time, from March until April. So the first week that it really happened was Monday, 27th March, and MicroStrategy was again, oh, wait, hold on. Monday, the 27th of March was here. So interesting that MicroStrategy was one of the leaders of the dot-com crash. Well, if you want to go back and look, one of the reasons for this was that they got in trouble with the SEC for accounting fraud. Not adjudicated fraud, but they had to pay either $1 million or $1 million and some change fine. But it basically meant that the stock, because of this, dropped about 60% based on that news. There's a gap right there. And this actually preceded the dot-com fall off by about 3 weeks. In fact, some even blame MicroStrategy for being the needle that pricked the dot-com bubble, because they kind of started showing that, wait, some of these companies are engaged in a little bit of financial irregularity and fraud, possibly, maybe not. But it kind of took the wind out of the sails, kind of gave them a little bit of question, a little bit of doubt, loss of faith, if you will. And so, yeah, I think that probably people would be kind of mad at MicroStrategy for popping this whole bubble that everyone was really interested in. And but time goes on, and even though in 2013 Michael Saylor was a dirty heretic saying that Bitcoin would never do anything, be anything, he eventually found the light and found a new vehicle to boost his company's stock price. This, as it is called, infinite money glitch that he has stumbled upon in Bitcoin. And, well, I'm sure everything will be different this time. I'm sure it'll be fine, because this time it's different. This time, MicroStrategy will not be the company that 3 weeks ahead of time busts the entire market upon which it is predicated on. Won't happen again. Won't happen again. So I'm sure, not being sarcastic, actually. No, be careful. Be careful. Um, I think that Bitcoin is a very well engineered piece of technology. Blessed be its name. But this kind of integration of the sinful, the pagan, tradfi into it, I believe that this will be where I would depart from the Church of Bitcoin and say that it is a very, very dangerous game, taking Bitcoin's name in vain, if you will, a sin, to be trying to pump it up based upon um, financial witchcraft. Witchcraft. So be careful messing around with the TradFi witchcraft, for that is of the devil. I did it earlier, but I operate an independent Church of Bitcoin, Zygor, and I find him to be a witchcraft, a witch, a witch, a witch. We'll see. MRV score indicator. Well, let's take a look at this. It was just posted to me here. I'm going to be honest with you. I appreciate your sharing, but I like to keep things very, very simple. And you would have to tell me what this means. Oh, I can kind of gather what this means. This means that this bullish breakout is just beginning. Got it. Yeah, that is a very common thing. It is just getting started, which is what you need to tell yourself to buy it at this point. But yeah, so go nuts, have fun, blessings, bullish blessings be upon you. Let's see. So, but just to kind of reiterate something though, and I know that a lot of people have this idea that that things are going to be different this time, but if you look at again, going back to the fractal nature of things, from the all-time high in 2013 up to the all-time high of 2017 was about a 1400% increase, and then that all-time high up to this all-time high was a 248% increase. Okay, so a slight decrease in that. And so what I talked about on a chat this week was, if you really wanted to get naysayer, if you want to be a naysayer, if you wanted to be a non-believer, then if you kind of use that fractal projection to say, okay, well, where is it going to go from here? 1/6 of 1400 or 1500 divided by 250 would put you at about a 41% increase. That would put you at about 97K, and that's not nearly bullish enough. So if we just went up the fractal amount to 248, okay, we'll go up here. Still a pretty high number, 248 from there to there. That would put us up at that. Yeah, we'd be kind of poking at that 250,000 as well. So the numbers I'll be looking at will be 97, 100, let's say 240, and well, from then gazillion, basically, right? Right. So, do I ever open futures trades on Fridays after hours? I don't trade after hours. I don't trade after hours. I'm not that impatient. I can wait for the market to open. In fact, I think that the market closing is a benefit. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, you need to take a break every once in a while. So let's see. Yeah, that indicator which you shared, I appreciate that. It can show you tops and bottoms, but I would challenge you to go apply this to other instruments and see if you get the same kind of results. Also, make sure that this indicator it does not redraw. In other words, if you can use Actually, let's see here. Hang on. Can we bring this up? Let's see. MVRV. Okay. Is it by this Van Helsing? Let's try it. Okay. Okay. Maybe that's what. Let me look on your chart here. MVRV score. Hold on. Okay. And so let's look at like something else that has been going up for a long time. Let's just do the SPY. Let's do SPY and see what it shows. So, okay. So basically SPY came up here. It said that basically this on the S&P 500 index around January of 2020, it would have had you sell it then. It would have probably, it would have been good. Well, no, it would have had you sell a little bit earlier there. That's fine. Here, yeah. And so this is why I said, I think that looks like an indicator that when you apply it to Bitcoin right now, it tells you what people want to hear, which is it is just beginning. But if you go and look at some other things, like some other instruments to kind of back test it, you might be, it showed it here at the top of Tesla as well. So maybe we'll see. Always double check. Always double check when you're looking at some new indicator. All right. So yeah, those are the answers to the question, how high can it possibly go? I still, to talk my book, like I said, I cleared out all my BITI, but I still have a position short MicroStrategy. And that's going to be a long-term position. And I'm going to stick with that. And I think someone told me today that my puts have gone to money heaven. Not exactly. There's still some premium left in them. And we'll see how that plays out. So now we're in the latter half. So if you guys have symbols to look at, post them in the chat. And we'll take a look at it. IKEA Insurance. I didn't know you get IKEA Insurance. Craziest thing about Doge is it's one of the only assets that's outperformed or kept pace with Bitcoin since inception. Is that true? By the way, on Doge, put it on a weekly log scale and you'll see the pattern. Okay. Moon, then it does nothing for years. And they go, hey, look, I'm not going to hate it being a meme coin. Let's see. Logarithmic. Yeah. Okay. All right. I had a friend of mine tell me that he just discovered that he had 100,000 Dogecoin tucked away in an account he had forgotten about. So that was a nice little find. Have fun, guys. Have fun with these heretical currencies. Speaking of heretical currencies, my favorite Monero, which you can make fun of it all you want, has become basically a stable coin, and it's coming back around to the 140 par value that I like for that to be a stable coin. It is not benefiting. It will benefit if and when Bitcoin goes down. So Ethereum. Now, some people have asked me on my Discord about Ethereum being the quote-unquote catch-up trade for Bitcoin. I don't know what that means. I don't know what a catch-up is. I think you're either in Bitcoin, blessed be its name, or you're trying to achieve some kind of, more psychologically, emotionally palatable trade, and I don't think that's very valid. So it's going to follow the same rules here. You need to break the past all-time high to get a breakout. And, it's so weird to talk to people about these pagan philosophies of alt season and things like that, because really you only had one alt season. Well, you kind of had one back in 2013 when everything was. Then you had the alt season of 2021 when you had the DeFi and NFTs and things like that. And so everyone's been waiting for years for another alt season, but you really don't have that many occurrences of it. It's like looking for an eclipse or something. We're presuming that these things go in repeated cycles, but Ethereum has not benefited nearly as much as as Bitcoin, blessed be its name, has in this run up. So, all right, starting to get a little congested here talking to you guys, but I'll stay as long as you guys have questions. The machine spirit may whisper of profit, but only the emperor's light illuminates the true prosperity. Yes, yes. I really hope that Henry Cavill does the actually put something together for that show. He's the only person that I want to see do something, a true nerd's nerd, if you will. Well, stocks, Tesla. So Tesla was a video that I made last week because this was a great teaching opportunity here, which kind of fallen off its heat, but this was a 50% and spike that has gone up. Zygor, I see that you're there, and I actually did close my visor. I did. I may be a little too predator. I actually wanted to have it catch the low. So you're fine to have it, but it actually did just break and close below the low of this year. Yeah, yeah, you sold it 28. Yeah, that's about break even right there. So, yeah, that was something that just didn't work this year. That's the high dividends, right? SCHD. Yep, it's good. It's fine. The thing about SCHD is that it underperforms the stock market overall as well. Vu and chill, I think is the way on that. Yeah. Well, I mean, you know why it's down is because, and this actually makes me mad because I've owned Eli Lilly for over a decade, and now RFK is the Secretary of Health and Human Services. I don't think he's going to ban vaccines or do anything to them, but again, price moves on the perception of things, not on the thing itself, and so that's why you're seeing these big sell-offs there. So. Yeah, I mean, I think that SCHD is good if you, say, would like to derive an income out of the dividends that come out of it, because it does pay a good dividend because it's built up, by the way, of S&P 500 dividend stocks. So, but yeah, all right. Well, I think I have answered the questions, and unless you guys have, okay, okay, thank you. Yeah, I'll look at that. Palantir, get the questions in, guys, because like I said, head cold, getting hard to talk. I'm gonna go take a nap after this. What do I think about Palantir? Again, very good friend that started a Discord that I talk on, and he was such a bullish. Oh my goodness. So I think that I bought Palantir back when it was in single digits, not nearly as much as one wishes now, but yay. Actually, until you said something, I hadn't looked at it. I mean, this is one of those things where I literally, I put, like a grand worth at single digits in there, and yay. Now I wish you would have put a huge portfolio allocation into it. I did it because my friend was really bullish on it, and I sat and languished for all of the year of 2023. Same thing as Bitcoin, blessed be its name. When something is ripping to new all-time highs, you don't try to get too clever. I mean, I did say that I would entertain the idea of Fibonacci extensions. Actually, let me show you guys another trick since you asked me that. Thanks for asking me, because that gives me more stuff to talk about. So one thing that people have used for many, many years is Fibonacci extensions. I don't really use that because fibs, the only thing I really use is the 50%. But I'll show you how I employ that. So if someone were a Fibonacci trader, they would be looking not at 100K, but they would be taking a Fibonacci measurement of the prior trend, basically that started in the bottom of the FTX debacle back in November of 2022, and they would be looking at a price of about 109, which would be very interesting if price goes up, breaks 100K, shoots up to 109, and holds that, because there's a lot of people, a lot of traders that use Fibonacci extensions, and that kind of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay. What I would be looking at actually, because I use only a 50% retracement, and then the next number would be 168 and things like that. So I think it's good to be aware of these things because other people are. But what I would be more looking at for a level where it could hit, pull back, do a little bit of funkiness, is if you kind of assume that maybe at some point in the future it will pull back about 50% from its rally, from its trend, and then that 50% be a pre-existing level like the prior all-time highs. In other words, you can see it come up to here and then maybe kind of get one of those volatile dumps, and yes, they happen. Obviously, you got the big volatile dump there, and even in the scope of this rally of Bitcoin over the last year, you see that once it started the ETF run, it very perfectly pulled back to a 50% level, which was also that ETF high. And so, what you can do in those kind of cases, if you want to try to forecast a little bit, is figure, okay, well, that's a major high. Let's extend this out to see where that major level, where there's a lot of trading, a lot of inflection happen, and then make that be a 50% and extend it forward. That's the way I tend to look at things. And so if I were going to do that to this, we can either be, we'll just be generous all the way from the bottom there. And we say, all right, and we're talking into the future when it does its, giant volatile thing, which, people say that it won't, but come on, guys. Come on, we know we're playing here. We know what we're playing here. So, that would be around the 128 and such and such and such. I don't think that you could do it any more differently than that. Okay, unless it were to have done like something off of here. No, we'll go with that. We'll go with that. So yeah, I think that it's pretty clear that 100, or more specific, more granularly, excuse me, 97 to 100. And then the only time I'd really get interested in after that was maybe about the 128. Not going to short at those levels, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Yes, I'll look at that huddle. Let's see. A few months ago, when you mentioned Disney, it seems to me the low is in. Disney is something that my family loves very much. Oh, look at that. Well, yeah, it does seem like the low is in. I bought this for my nieces and nephews. Had my sisters set up a custodial account. Now, this is one of the things I put in there for them because they're kids. But yeah, that's going pretty well. That's looking pretty well. Yeah. Basically, when I was picking this up for them, it was last year when it was coming down to the COVID low. Of course, I had to kind of come down again and test it, but yeah, look good. Let's see, Solana. Yeah, let's see, USD. Let's look at USD. Let me see what I like about this. So, that is, in fact, yeah, that's doing pretty good. I remember when a friend of mine was jumping into this, and then it came up to 140, and then they've had to sit in this for about 2 years, and now we're coming up breaking out. It is definitely doing better, and look at this right here. So this is what I'm talking about when I say that price respects levels. People know it's there. People know that the high from March is here, and so these last few days, this last week, it has been fighting and conquering that level. And so that is a very good sign. That is what you want to see when something, either you want to see it do what Bitcoin did, which is break it and just close so far beyond it that there's no question, or you want to see it come back, test it, hold it, and that's a bullish sign. That is very, very good. That is very good. Even though it is a heretical, dirty, sinning currency that is not Bitcoin, blessed be his name. All right, Sol ETH. Well, that is a good comparison. Sorry. Ethereum's just not. As a priest of Bitcoin, I don't concern myself too much with Ethereum and the smart contract world. Ergo, I'm not really sure what is going to be. What is going to be the thing that pushes Ethereum up? Now, I remember they started talking. I think they got an ETF, right? But I remember watching when that was happening. Ethereum didn't move that much. And one of the things you kind of have to think about in sentiment is what should happen and then what price does when it should. Like, in other words, Bitcoin was poised to go up, blessed be its name, was poised to go up upon the Trump election. And it did. It did exactly what you thought it would. If it had not, then that would have been a major sign. But it did exactly as you expected it to do. And it's going up now because people expect the future, the administration for 4 years on out, to be good. And you've got this whole window of time between now and inauguration when he will hopefully, and it'll be a big sign when he frees Ross Ulbricht on day one, where all this speculation about what's going to happen is going to happen, And then you even have time to just kind of sit there and expect and hope for the Trump administration to make good on any promises. And you don't have to have any news come out. People will just be speculating on it. And so it's a very, very bullish time. It really is. It's not because anything is happening that makes it. It's because people are thinking that something will, thus bullish. So I think he's going to do it. And the only people that don't think he's going to free Ross are people that don't like him and want to be wrong. And let me just okay. Ask me a couple more questions because I'm going to give my final thoughts here in just a second. What about taking the fib extension from the previous bottom to top to the bottom of the current cycle? You're kind of touching on why I don't do fibs, because there's a lot of ways to do them, and I don't want to really, I'm not smart enough to know how to do all of them. Like this. I just like things to be simple. This is the same thing. Is this what you're talking about? Or are you talking about the other one? So, yeah. All right. He will absolutely do that, free Ross. It doesn't expend any political capital. You're right, it doesn't. He's promised he won't sell the Bitcoin that's been confiscated. Bullish. He will launch a strategic national reserve. Bullish. Yeah. Well, he said these things. I don't think it really. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't. That's a nice. You as my political advisor, I believe you. I believe you're entirely correct, actually, because it's really all about political capital. It's not just about financial capital. So, hello. So, let me just give my final thoughts here as we're coming into the close of the hour. So, let's see here. What do we have a Mars icon? Hang on, because we're not going to moon anymore. We're not going to the moon anymore. So, yeah. Going to Mars. Going to Mars. So, there's Mars. Price not to scale. So I've had a lot of discussions with people in the last couple weeks, and I've had a lot of soul searching myself, and it's interesting to me. And I normally don't talk about politics, but I'm going to talk about politics here because people have different opinions about lots of things. I, of course, with Bitcoin, and I'll tell you why I messed up on Bitcoin. I have not liked the way the direction the ethos has gone. I've had what I believe to be principled stand that traditional finance should not be integrated into Bitcoin. And so I wanted so much for Bitcoin to not fail, not Bitcoin to fail, but for the ETF and all the TradFi integrations to fail. The ETF being one of them, Michael Saylor's financial trickery, the witchcraft that he's doing another. And that I brought to my analysis and the charts. And I've had to rethink that. And so that is where I'm at right now. But that also applies to people when I hear them talk about the fallout from the U.S. election. A lot of them are really, really nervous. A lot of them are also very angry. And they are telling me, or at least I'm hearing from them, a lot of the same things that I was saying over the last couple of months with Bitcoin. In other words, you'll see everything's going to go bad. You just wait. I'll be right. You just wait. Wishing, essentially, that, you know, good things will not happen because it's more important for me or their ego to be correct and ignoring the good things that were actually potentially happening. Like Zelensky and Putin already talking about ending the war, Hamas calling for a ceasefire, um, RFK being appointed to Health and Human Services, Tulsi Gabbard being appointed to her the same agency that put her on the terrorist watch list, and so I really want people, including myself, to become optimistic. But you know what? It's been really hard. It's really, really hard to admit when you're wrong. But like I said at the beginning of the live stream, the first thing you do when you find out that you're wrong is stop being wrong. And so, bullish blessings be upon you all in Bitcoin. Blessed be his name. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.